YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back on Total War Rome 2 with some more online footage, and I had been matched against the same player 3 times in a row, and I kind of expected to get matched against him again. That happens sometimes in matchmaking. And rather, it put us in a 2v2 against these two guys who look like they're in the same clan. And so this ended up being myself as Bactria, my teammate is the Seleucids versus Macedon and also Bactria. Bactria is clearly going to be a favorite faction in online fights because of their excellent cav and armored elephants. Plus they have access to horse archers. Bactria is a very well-rounded faction. Probably the strongest in the game, would be my opinion, when it comes to multiplayer. And they're sure not going to be bad in campaign either. Bactria is a very powerful faction. In any case, that's why I picked him. My opponent had originally selected a different faction, and then he changed to the Seleucids. I think he was playing as Rome, and so I wanted to bring the heavy cav of Bactria, and then he switched over to the Seleucids. And I just didn't want to switch again. He's got these Syrian armored elephants again. These guys are a great value, being 200 talents cheaper than the other ones, and they look freaking sweet. Man, that's a cool elephant unit. So I've got 3 horse archers on this flank. My main line is 6 thorax swords. I've got my own Indian armored elephant as my general, 4 Bactrian noble horse, which these guys are a painfully strong melee cav, and then I've got 2 more mercenary Scythians on this flank. I didn't bring any foot skirmishers. My teammate has got a couple of Persian light archers, a couple of units of peltast. He likes to keep his varied, it seems, and then he's got some Median cav, 1 there, and I believe 4 more out here, yeah. And then he's got his elephants on his left flank. And he's got Hillman units there too, which is an interesting unit. Don't see those very often. Let's see. So our opponents, the Macedonian opponents, fielding 2 Aspis cav, a companion cav, and a citizen cav on this flank. His army is very odd, to me at least. He's got 3 mercenary Cretan archers, 2 levy pikemen spread out very thin that are not in pike formation. He's then got 2 peltast and 2 thorax swords, and then a hoplite, 2 hoplite units. Again, all of his units spread out extremely thin. And against 2 cav-heavy factions like Bactria and the Seleucids, I would not ever recommend spreading your men out this thin. It just makes them extremely vulnerable to cav because it takes their bracing down to almost 0. And plus, he spread his guys out real thin and then put them kind of like layered on each other. If you're going to spread your guys out thin, I would think you would want to do so to cover more ground, not spread them out and then put them all together like this either. It's kind of odd. I could be wrong. I don't know what his thinking is, so I mean I can't put thoughts in his head or words in his mouth. I'm just saying that to me it seemed odd for that reason. So my opponent or teammate and I are going to move up together. The Bactrian player, sorry, I haven't given you his army. He's got 3 levy pikes again. Not sure why you would want to bring levy pikes over thorax swords as Bactria. Way easier to use thorax swords. Yes, levy pikes are cheaper, and that would help him bring a couple of these archers, but I mean, yeah, I mean, the horse archers are way better for dealing with elephants because they have heavy shot and flaming shot, and they're mobile. So bringing Persian light archers to me just didn't make a whole lot of sense. But here, again, look at the skirmishing. My men weren't skirmishing away, even though they're set to skirmish, and they just do a poor job of it. I'm trying to give them orders at the same time too, so maybe that's the problem. Maybe I should have just let them skirmish, I don't know. But they get caught by this Bactrian light horse, which wasn't... It's not all that infuriating. Light horse is light horse, right? They're fast. I mean, is your horse really that much faster if you drop your spear and pick up a bow? I doubt it. I guess I can kind of understand how light horse has an easier time keeping up. But what happens here in a minute does kind of tick me off a little bit. When you watch this screen too, see how my men are running right here? And they're going to turn and run back through this scrub. And if I mouse over the scrub, it says movement speed 70. So when you see my men go through it, you can see them visibly slow down. And so his horsemen start to catch up for a minute. Well, that makes sense to me. I get it. My guys are going through the scrub. Well, here comes his Bactrian noble horse and his light horse. Look, his light horse goes through the scrub. There's no slowdown. What the heck? How did that happen? Is it because most of his guys were outside of it? I don't know. I was trying to figure that out for myself. That was weird. Anyway, his light horse just going to run down my horse archers over here. No problem. Going to completely get away. Look how they keep hesitating like that on the skirmish. I mean, it's just weird. They really need to work on the skirmish function. Again, over here I go through some scrub. My men visibly slow down. And then watch this. Bactrian noble horse. Slows down a little, but look, just plows right on through. Bactrian noble horse. Catching a light horseman. How does a horseman with 85 armor catch a horse archer? What the heck? I do not understand skirmishing on this game. I need to just put my guys into out of the skirmish mode. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Is it good to move your men while you're in a skirmish? Or if you're going to give them your own movement orders, you just take them out? Tell me all what you think. That was just weird to me, to see a heavy, heavy horseman catch a horse archer. That would have never happened in Rome 1, ever. So that was weird. Just very weird. And no, I didn't use rapid reload and get my guys tired. So it's kind of weird. Just an odd deal. Whatever. It wasn't a big deal. It was just 2 horse archers, so I'll live. Just wanted to show it to you because it is something that's strange to me. And so both of our teams are just kind of lining up opposite each other. And I was trying to communicate with my teammate here and just kind of come up with a plan. We didn't see any real obvious openings for outflanking these guys or ganging up. So we just decided to kind of play it by ear. And I think my teammate thinks that he sees an opening to get his men in and get into combat because he starts moving up his sword corps. And all the while I've been trying to stay with him and create one continuous line of swordsmen to make it hard for our opponents to know where to strike. I've been keeping my elephants on the inside flank too, because I want to keep his archers on that inside flank, and I'm not really going to let my elephants get in their range. See how he moves forward and I keep my elephants back here? I'm going to wait. I want to keep my elephants for late game. So my teammate moves up, brings his hillman in, probably just to draw skirmish fire, and that they're doing. They're getting showered with all kinds of deadly missiles, and they're going to charge this hoplite unit probably just to pin them down. Look at this. Still no phalanx mode from the Macedonian player. He's got pikes up here without being in phalanx, and my teammate starts throwing javelins at him and stuff, probably just assuming they're in phalanx, because I don't approach hoplite or pikemen from the front. Look, he even stops. I never noticed they weren't in phalanx until I watched the replay. Check it out over here. I'm leading the Macedonian cavalry away from the main fight with my horse archers. I'm actually having a little more success skirmishing this time, though I'm pretty sure that these Macedonian cav, even the heavy ones, do end up catching my horse archers to some degree. So I had terrible luck with the horse archers. And see, look, my teammate outflanks these pikes, probably finally realizes that they weren't in pike formation and just destroys them, which means that there's now Seleucid swords all over in the back lines of the Macedonians. So the Macedonian player is in definite distress. However, the Seleucid general gets run amok here by these Persian light archers and is running perilously close to the front of these pikes and then back towards my own sword infantry. So I bring in my own elephants here. Let me show you this. There's pikes. There's pikes kind of holding a line here. So what I'm wanting to do is avoid the Bactrian player, who's actually in a good position with his archers, and I'm going to make a run around this direction and come over to help assist with a quick knockout of the Macedonian player. Now this is a huge risk. There's a lot of Bactrian cav back here, but the Bactrian cav is working its way towards this flank. And let me show you what's happening here real quick too. So I engaged what Bactrian cav was here and made my opponent think I was only interested in this, and then slipped one cavalryman through here, and I'm going to hit a rear charge in the sword fight to give my guys the advantage. And I have one more cav unit that can either go through the gap or come around here to stop his royal cav. So my opponent is, in answer, bringing all of his Bactrian cav all the way across the map, and it's going to leave the Macedonian player that much more vulnerable because his cavalry is tied up in the background, chasing my horse archers. Look at this, Aspis cav pinning my guys against the wall. But hey, an Aspis cav being distracted by a horse archer is a great turnaround for me. I'm happy to have that. Yeah, here you can see my elephants finally getting into the Macedonian infantry. I'll take it out of slow motion now. But I just wanted you to see some of the action. Yeah, here's me crushing his swords from behind the Bactrian noble horse. He's then forced to bring his Bactrian royal cav. I'll turn around and give him a charge so that I don't just get hammered from behind. And my swordsmen break through, and now I'm going to start heading behind his pikes. And again, see, he's bringing all these Bactrian noble horse over here to answer. A couple of them peel off, it looks like, to go engage the Seleucids here. But they're just going to get drawn into a fight near elephants too. Most of the Macedonian skirmishers forced back this way, and then the ones that were nearby didn't get enough shots to kill my elephants or run them amok. All the Bactrian units in this area are suffering morale penalties. Seleucid elephants still running amok due to archer fire. And again, this cavalry fight over here is actually going very well for me. I got a quick rear charge right here and then extricate my men from that. And then he's going to bring in more cav, just kind of on the blob basically, and then I'm going to try and swing back around and pin him in. So I was able to outmaneuver my opponent over here, and my swordsmen got behind his pikes and just start shredding his pikes from behind. I am taking some light Persian light archer fire, but those guys are already starting to waver, and then I'm on the flank of these pikes too. And this is why I say I don't like bringing pikes. They're just not easy to use, and no matter which way he turns, he's going to get hammered from the flank. So yeah, his men are going to get destroyed by my thorax swords. I'm now bringing my elephants back over here to finish off all this heavy Bactrian cav. I think that the fight's pretty well in my favor, but I want to make sure that it stays in my favor. So, and you can see the Seleucid player over here, my teammate, finishing off what's left of the Bactrian noble horse and the Macedonian forces. His Aspis cav finally gets back to the fight, but not in a very useful position, really, at the moment. And then one of my horse archers comes back here, and then another one is across the map. I'll bring it back into. Yeah, so I think the interesting thing here is that the Macedonian player didn't have his pikes set up. That would have helped a lot, but he let himself get outflanked. So even if he hadn't had his pikes set up, he was going to get outflanked and his pikes were going to crumble. Behind them, he only had 2 units of thorax swords, and then some hoplites, which is just not enough to hold off what the Seleucid was threatening with. Not in my opinion, at least. Here comes my armored elephants. I want to put a final end to this fight. My Bactrian noble horse out here tanked it. And that's the thing, you can take Bactrian noble horse versus Bactrian noble horse. It's just going to be a long, drawn-out fight, and whoever gets the better positioning is eventually going to win it. And you can see here, yeah, my elephants just wrecked the rest of that fight. I've got 300 kills on my elephants, and then my teammate's got almost 300 on his as well. The only rule that they gave us coming into this fight was no spamming elephants. You can bring one, just don't bring more than one, was their ask. And so we didn't break that rule, and I was just honestly surprised, like knowing that both of us had factions that could bring armored elephants. The composition of their armies was a little strange to me. The Bactrian opponent across from me only had 3 Persian light archers. That is just not enough to take out armored elephants. Yes, you could potentially run them amok, but you're going to need to kill them. And Persian light archers don't have a particularly fast reload skill, and they don't have particularly damaging shots. So that one just surprised me. Horse archers would have been a much better solution. Because he ended up killing my horse archers with his melee cav, and that means he could have had some free to ward off my elephants from any given position. A couple of peltists held in reserve are also a good way to take down enemy elephants, but when I say in reserve, I mean keep them back from the main line, because otherwise the elephants will plow through your main line and then go straight into your peltist. So just got to be careful of those scenarios. But so great game to my teammate, fun game from our opponents. Hope you all enjoyed this one. It was I really honestly have to give kudos to my teammate here, because he did a great job of kind of knocking out the Macedonian player mostly alone. He had him in the right position, and yes, I did get my elephants in and mop up, but he kind of got him in the right position. My horse archer's not coming away with a lot of kills, but, distractions and other stuff like that, I think they ended up being worth it. And then my thorax swordsmen, for the most part, were able to do well, the ones that were used. You can see that not a ton of kills on, say, these two, but they almost had no losses, and then these two got a ton of kills with not that many losses. Bactrian noble horse just did a good job of holding, and then my elephants did most of the killing. If we look at my teammate, again, Median Cav did clearly a lot of... they got beat up pretty bad by whatever they fought, but they must have gotten the job done. Skirmisher's doing really well. Look at all these unopposed kills from his skirmishers. Good there. And his thorax swords did pretty well, too. And his royal peltist general did pretty good. So, Macedonian player, his Aspis Cav just really not paying off here. Or at least not doing it in time. Cretan archers, these two kind of okay. This one didn't. Peltis not getting the kind of kills they need. Again, hoplites. What are hoplites really going to do in this fight? They can't stop the thorax swords that you know are coming from the Seleucids. They can't really stop elephants. So, I mean, it just my problem with the Macedonian army here is, like, I guess you could say his killing power was his skirmishers, but I don't really see how that was going to work out for him in the end, because it's, I mean, 3 Cretan archers is considerable, but what are you going to stop, armored elephants with quick enough? Like, all they have to do, you know what I mean? Like, all he has to do is just get distracted for a second. There's 5 enemy cav to his 4, and he won't be able to defend his guys, basically. And so you kind of saw it happen to him. And I don't know exactly what I would have done to counter it. I mean, Seleucid versus Macedon's a tough matchup anyway. But I don't know what the heavy hoplites were really going to do in this fight, I guess. Unless he really hoped that they were going to help out in a cav fight. But in my opinion, you just don't have enough mainline infantry to be doing that kind of thing. And let's take a look at the enemy Bactrian player. Eastern Spearmen, don't know what the point of these guys is, unless you're just throwing them away to absorb a charge. His Persian light archers ran the Seleucid elephants amok a few times, so I'd say that they ended up being kind of worth it. His infantry got beat down bad, all of it, and that's the main reason why he had such a struggle on his hand at that point. Oh, he didn't have 5 Bactrian noble horse. He only had 3, 2 citizen cav, and then a Bactrian light horse. Bactrian light horse is good light horse, and the Bactrian royal cav for the general was kind of strange too. Not really sure why he didn't bring elephants. It's definitely a smart move to make in the 2v2. But in any case, I had a good time in that battle. It was kind of fun, like having played against that guy so many times and then getting teamed up with him is kind of cool because we'd kind of been playing with each other and kind of getting used to the way each other played. And we got to play that 2v2. Had a good time with it. Hope he did too. Thanks for the games both against me and with me. It was a great time, and I hope you all enjoyed them as well.